specialization. If you look at any MBA programs, you will find that most of the MBA programs, they are standard MBA programs, and then after that you select few electives so that you can get a specialization in different areas. And the most important part is that you need to look at the staff, what is their specialization and their research skills and where they have published, and then you need to look at the alumni and then where they work. Those are the important part as far as we think that when you look into a selection of a business school.
Adding to what Dr. Nelson has said, the faculty is the most important parameter when you are selecting a business school. So you have to see what kind of research faculties are doing, whether their consulting is being accepted within the industry or not, and how much time they have spent in industry. So this is the critical parameter on which you have to really identify whether the faculties are qualified enough or not based on how many research papers they have written, academic research papers. And why this parameter is important? When they will be discussing the cases with you, if they have industry exposure, they will be able to really bring a lot of industry insight in the classroom. Because MBA is not an MA in English wherein you will be studying the entire theory. The second point which Dr. Nelson has referred is a student, is a peer group. So higher the diversity of the peer group, it means like there has to be diversity in terms of culture, it should be in terms of functional area as well as industry sector. So if you are joining some program wherein you will find 80% of the students hail from the software industry, although they have average 5 years experience, the collective experience of 80% batch comes out to be 5 years experience. So you have to be very much cautious in terms of selecting a business school, that what kind of profile of the students are there. Are they biased towards one industry or it's a diversified profile? Apart from that, it's like finding a business school and a program is like finding a right partner for you, life partner. So you have to really look at the various parameters. You have to identify first, do you really want to go for a marriage? Do you really need MBA? And how do you really identify that whether you require MBA or not? So discuss it with your colleagues or probably senior guys or somebody who has done MBA and identify whether you require an MBA or not. Once you finalize that yes, you require an MBA, you have to find out what you would like to really gain out of this MBA. Is it for higher dowry or it is for better job prospects? Right? I'm not kidding. A lot of guys they do for dowry in India, and you guys know the fact. So you have to identify what is your intention. Do you want better salary, or you want to change your industry, or you want to go for the career change? So once you identify what is your intention, which area you want to move in, whether it is in entrepreneurship or in IT or consulting or whichever area. Once you finalize that, you need to really come down on the decision items. What kind of research and consulting they are doing? What is the cost? Cost is a critical factor. BMW is great, but how many of us can afford that? Right? So these are the various factors you have to really get deeper insight. Just don't go on the say 5-star infrastructure of the business school. You have to go on the learning infrastructure of the school. So there are various parameters, and based on that you have to really identify the best suitable program for your needs.
Much has been said already, but I just wanted to clarify one point, because I know that in India, most people who have a bachelor could actually continue with an MBA right after. You need to know that in Europe, most of the time, the MBA program is for professionals who have several years of work experience. At Emlyon, 3 years minimum. Just for you to understand that we do usually require some work experience. Otherwise, I think that you also need to look at accreditations. I think this is also important. And the class size could be important as well, because I know that some of these business programs, they do have classes of more than 100 participants, and some offer MBA programs with only 50 participants. So this is also an element that you should look at. Besides the fact, of the profile of the candidates, how they are on average, because being with participants who are only 26, 27 years old, and being with people who are 31, 32 years old. It's maybe a bit different in terms of exchange and exchange and experience from the MBA. Yeah, so I just want to add those elements.
Ashish and Nancy, anything to add?
A couple of points. I'd like to now look from the viewpoint of a student. You have a number of business schools, and when you're looking at a business school, you have to look at the profile of the business school. The first question that you should be asking is that university an Ivy League university? So if you're going to the US, you look at the Ivy League universities, then you look at the second-tier universities. If you're looking at the UK, you'll again look at the red brick universities that were established before the Second World War, etc. In India, you do the same. You have the IIMs, then you have Bajaj and Bombay, Narsingh, followed by the rest. The reason I say this is because the reputation of the university is extremely important. And the reputation of a university and the business school is by and large linked to accreditations, as my colleague mentioned. We have Aegis in Europe. There are only 20 Aegis accredited institutions, business schools, out of 120 in the UK, 90 worldwide. IIM Bangalore has just got Aegis. Other parameters that you look at is AMBA, that is specifically to UK. If you're going to the US, look for an AACSB business school. But again, that is like AMBA, almost everyone has. Then other factors that you should be considering very carefully is, what is the profile of the MBA in terms of its recruitment? So for example, at our own MBA, there's a cap of, we don't take more than 8 people from India every year. So the cap is there by the class size. We have got a full-time class size of 60. And we will not take more than 8 MBA students per year from India, full-time. So, and that is a very important parameter. You may shortlist 3 or 4 business schools, but they may all end up rejecting you because they're all in the Ivy League structure. So look at the reputation of the university, look at the reputation of the business school, look at your own skill set. As my colleague mentioned, most business schools, including ours, look for minimum 3 years experience. On average, people have 7 to 8 years work experience. And we talk of relevant managerial work experience. So before you're targeting a university, see their profile, also look at your own profile and see if there's a match. And getting that match is the most important. And that match is customized between the student and the institution. But of course, that's my personal perspective. All of you are welcome to disagree with me.
Anything to add, Nancy?
Only that it may seem that every school in the United States is accredited by the AACSB. I can name 5 right around us that are not. Please be careful. It needs to be accredited. And in the United States, again, there are schools as good and better for a lot of things in business school than the Ivy Leagues. A lot of them are in the room across the hall from us right now. Keep it in mind. Don't go focused on the Ivy Leagues. You will be missing too many unbelievably good schools with unbelievably strong programs.
Thank you very much. I think one of the key things that has been mentioned is about the accreditation, to make sure that the school is accredited. Just to touch upon what Bhupesh said, before you actually start looking for a business school, do think about why you want to do an MBA. It is a big investment. I've been doing coming to India 5 years with these fairs. You do get a few candidates that do come and they want me to answer for them why they should do an MBA. I ask them how many years of work experience. Some people saying 0, some people saying 1. It's it's fantastic to see. They're hungry. They've got that desire to learn. But it's a big investment. So do think about why you want to do an MBA. Whether it's a higher salary, whether it's to career progression, to specialize in something, or just to show off on your CV. All valid reasons, absolutely, but it's a big investment. Just do think about why you sincerely want to do an MBA.
Moving on to the next question, the benefits of a 1-year versus 2-year program and the overall return on investment of doing an MBA. I'll let Nancy start this one.
My school does not have a 1-year program yet.
You're not audible, ma'am, back.
Okay. We do not have a 1-year program yet. There is discussion. It will happen eventually. We are a 2